She walked into the house like it still belonged to her, dragging a little boy by the wrist and a man whose arrogance filled the doorway. I was stirring jasmine tea, the scent thick in the air, pretending not to notice the storm that had arrived. Without hesitation, she tossed a manila envelope onto the counter. "Sign these, and leave." Her voice carried a rehearsed finality, like she'd practiced it in front of a mirror with the man behind her. He smirked. The boy looked lost. Then my son stepped into the doorway, holding a book. His voice was calm, too calm. "Mom, you really don't know." He opened the book, revealing the papers I'd hidden. Her face drained instantly, color leaving like someone had pulled a plug on her soul. She reached forward, hand trembling. He stepped back, clutching the book tighter. The kettle whistled behind me, but it felt like a scream. And in that silence, the first fracture appeared, her lies cracking under the weight of the truth she'd never expected to face. Her betrayal didn't arrive suddenly. It crept in quietly, wearing the disguise of small changes. She stopped kissing me goodbye, stopped checking on my day, stopped folding my shirts the way she used to. Carefully, almost lovingly. Her perfume changed too. It was sweeter, unfamiliar, lingering too long after she left her room. At dinner, she stared at her plate with a distance I couldn't cross. Some nights she laughed at her phone, a soft giggle she never gave me anymore. I tried to convince myself it was stress, exhaustion, a phase that would fade. But lies always leak, and they were dripping through our walls. Late-night calls from behind closed doors, muted giggles that traveled through thin walls, a smile she tried to hide when certain messages arrived. I noticed everything. The absence of guilt, the presence of someone else. And in that growing silence between us, I felt the ground shifting. The home we'd built together wasn't breaking. It was being abandoned, brick by brick, by the person who lived in it. I didn't confront her. Not yet. People lie best when they think you're not paying attention. So I watched, quietly, letting her dig her own grave. Phone records with patterns too neat to be accidental. Hotel receipts matching her business trips. Late-night calls to a number saved under a harmless name. Every clue slid into place, forming a picture I didn't want but couldn't ignore. She thought I was predictable, passive, safe. That was her biggest mistake. One afternoon I followed her. No confrontation, no anger. Just calculated distance. She met him at a park. Not a hotel. Not a hidden place. A park. Like they were a real family. The boy ran to her shouting, "Mommy!" And she laughed. A soft, genuine sound I hadn't heard in years. She held the boy's jacket. She kissed his forehead. She glowed. And in that moment, watching her with a child who wasn't mine, I realized she had left our marriage long before she ever planned her exit. She didn't fall out of love. She simply found someone else, and built a secret life around him. Truth hides in small, discarded things. A toothbrush in the trash. A strand of hair clinging to a sweater. A tissue she thought was forgotten. I collected them all, quietly, methodically. My son's sample too, just in case. No confrontation, just science. Weeks later, a plain brown envelope arrived. Unmarked, silent, heavy with answers. The first truth wasn't surprising. The boy was hers. The other man was the father. Expected, but still sharp. The second truth was the real blade. Our son wasn't hers, not biologically, not genetically, not in any way that nature recognized. He belonged to her sister. A hidden pregnancy, an overdose, a quiet adoption she arranged behind the world's back. She had stolen motherhood from one child to hide another, raised a borrowed son while hiding her own. My entire marriage, the family we thought we were, was built on someone else's tragedy and her endless deceit. I didn't cry, didn't shout. I just folded the papers, placed them inside my son's favorite book, and waited for the day her lies would finally betray her. When you know the truth, silence becomes a weapon. I didn't confront her after reading the reports. I simply prepared. The documents were printed, folded, and tucked into the book my son cherished, one she never touched, never cared about. I knew she'd return eventually with the performance ready. And that day came. She arrived with her lover and a boy she had hidden for 8 long years, demanding I sign and leave. But she didn't know the truth was already in the room, held calmly in my son's hands. She didn't realize her entire world was about to collapse with the turn of a page. I watched her confidently deliver her rehearsed lines, unaware that this time she wasn't the one in control. The truth was waiting, silent, sharp, precise, ready to cut through every lie she had stitched into our lives. The moment my son opened the book, Everything inside the room shifted. Her lover frowned. The boy looked confused. And her face, it cracked. She reached out, panic rising like smoke, but my son stepped back, gripping the book with both hands. "I thought you loved me," he whispered. Those words hit her harder than any accusation ever could. She couldn't breathe, couldn't speak. The man leaned over, reading the documents. His expression twisted, confusion, then shock, then fear as he realized what kind of woman he had entangled himself with. I looked at him, calm. "She never told you, did she?" He stumbled back, eyes darting between her and the boy. She stood frozen, caught between the lies she told me, the lies she told him, and the lies she told herself. And in that moment, her carefully built world collapsed. Not with a scream, but with silence. She told me to leave, but she'd left long before today. Her body stayed, her heart wandered. Her lies lived louder than her presence. I looked at her, broken, exposed, finally facing the consequences of her stitched-together secrets. "You asked me to go," I said softly, "but you've been gone for years." I turned to my son. "Get your bag." He didn't look at her, didn't hesitate. He walked toward me with a steady resolve no child should ever need. We stepped out together, father and son, leaving her standing among the ruins of her own deceit. The envelope she demanded I sign still lay unopened on the counter. Her lover stood frozen. The boy's eyes were full of questions she could no longer answer. I never looked back. Some truths don't require confrontation. They simply require distance. I didn't lose a wife. I shed a mask. And beside me walked the only person who never lied. My son, who understood without needing explanations. We didn't escape a home. We walked into a future finally free of shadows.